Hello, everyone, and welcome to So Many Games All the Time. I'm here with myself and
Evangelos.
I was going to say with Evangelos, but
So yourself.
anyway, yes, I'm very tired as usual because it's late. My kids just went to bed, so whatever. Deal with it. So we're now continuing our top 100, 60 to 51. I were just before the episode talking about the fact that we actually haven't uploaded any podcasts because we're doing this. Some people might think the podcast is dead, but if you're hearing this, well, you know why. There was a huge gap. Anyway, so 60 to 51. In the past, you've always started, so how about I start this time?
60.
It's full of passion. Someone would say it's an addiction, but another word for that would be obsession, and that's the game. It's obsession is number 60. It used to be number 33, so it really fell down 27 steps because last time that I talked about it in this top 100, I was saying like, oh, it's a game my wife likes and everything, but since then I've only actually played it on BGA, which is okay, but not nearly as fun as in real life. So I still appreciate the game. I still like the game. Thanks to BGA, I was able to play the expansions. So for the people who don't know what obsession is, basically you have this royal, you have this British family, and you're trying to, in what is it, Bridgerton times, I guess Bridgerton times or whatever, and you're trying to become more and more accepted and nobility and so on. So basically on your turn, you're like hosting events, trying to get more guests of higher level and so on, and gathering points basically, and getting different servants because everybody needs their own type of servants and so on. So you have to really choose when to use your people because they cycle back, but it takes a while. You can hire more servants, you can get money, build buildings, activities. And you've got scoring goals, of course, as well. And it's just I like it because I remember when we talked about it before. You said that you didn't like the art because it looks really cheap. I mean, the board looks really cheap. It's like made in paint or whatever. but but I do like the cards because they all have these pictures from people from way back and everything, and has some flavor text and everything. And it could have like a game found where you pay like £500 for the whole game, super duper deluxeified and double layered and all that kind of crap. And maybe they will in the future. At the moment, it still looks very simple, very basic. But I don't know. It doesn't bother me as much. So yeah, I enjoy the game. It's number 60 used to be higher, and maybe if I play more in person, it'll get higher again. But at the moment, it's at 60.
It's a very good game.
Yeah.
No, mine. Okay. My 60 is the opposite to Obsession looks, is a game that's stunningly beautiful for you, and that's Darwin's Journey.
Darwin's Journey.
This one it's a beautiful game. There's also a beautiful production and a great game. Have you played it?
No. Once again, I've been close to playing it, but the session got cancelled. It's the story of my life seems to be lately. But no, I think I'll really like it because it's
yes.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. There's nothing incredibly new to it. It's like the worker placement. There's contracts you have to fulfill. There's like there's a journey track where your boat, particularly, is just a track with side paths you go on to get certain resources or items. But the main mechanic that really makes this game stand out is the fact that you specialize your workers.
Mm.
So during the course of the game, you get these like stamps, these multicolored stamps that you will put on your worker, and that means that worker has a specialization, and therefore they can go to this worker spot.
Yeah.
So you're trying to make, you're trying to say, okay, I get the stamp, should I put on this worker or this worker here? And basically you are diversifying your actions and making them each worker more specified. That is really good. And it's a beautiful game. It's very crunchy. The expansion's really, really good, makes it even better. So yes, it's one of yours that it's nothing groundbreaking, but it all comes together really well. Plus, it comes in a very beautiful production.
Yeah.
That's why.
How about replayability?
I think it's replayable. I think because your workers are never the same, so you're trying to update workers every time.
Okay.
And the map does change where they put the tokens, and I think there's like a research for the different animals that changes. There's different. I think if I remember correctly, even the worker spots changes per game. There's randomized per worker spots.
Oh,
Like you get the basic ones that are always in the game, and then you get
Yeah.
a couple of changes every game. Because
I really like that.
replayability.
I really like that when
I think
that
it's
changes.
No, it's a great game, and it shows you a Euro doesn't have to look like Microsoft Paint.
But it can.
Carrying the bag.
59.
Is Scythe. So
Mm.
it used to be 25, then 40, and now 59. So also in a downward spiral. But yeah, I played it less because I used to play it a lot on the app. I played it a couple of times in person. I have the game, but it's still in shrink. I actually want to get the expansion, The Rise of Fenris, because apparently it's a really good solo, people say. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's a game I'll probably dive into again when things quiet down a little bit. But the problem is with the constant stream of Kickstarters, it never really quiets down. So and yeah, what I like about Scythe is the fact that basically you choose your faction. They're all different from each other. They play differently, especially the two expansion ones play very differently from the others. And you have two boards that you put together, and then you always do a top and a bottom action, if you can anyway, if it's possible. But then once you do that, your next turn you cannot use that anymore. So if you do something else, you're kind of forced to diversify. You always feel like you don't have enough resources, and if you do have a lot of resources, people might jump in and take it away from you. You've got very cool mechs that you can use, that you transport your troops around. It's like old style Russia, but then with mechs and like technology. I like the exploration where you pick up these tokens and then you get like different options you can choose. I like that a lot. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's also one of the things I always race for every game because I think it's cool. Yeah, and the first time I played, I was absolutely horrible at it because I had no idea how it played. And I think many people also think like, oh, it has combat, but combat is actually really not that important. It might get you 2 stars, but I think you get I forgot how many stars. Is it 10? Probably not 6 or something. So. You got 10 stars. So you need to have 10 stars, and it's only 2 possible ones. You need to get them. But yeah, it's really nice. I really enjoy the game. And after I played it more on the app, then suddenly in person I was a lot better as well. And the app is great as well. And I want to play Expeditions. I have it because it was in one of the blind boxes that we got at the expo in Bangkok last year. Actually, the new expo is coming closer, and I still haven't played that one. But yeah, I don't know how that plays, but I'm curious about it. So my 59 is Scythe.
That's a great game. Okay, my 59 is another Stefan game. Not his most popular one with many people, but I really do like it. And that game is Merlin. I don't know if you played it before.
No, I know what it is, and you talked about it last year, obviously. But yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes, it's just one of my favorites. I just think because it's very tactical. You can never really predict. I really like tactical games where you're presented with this every round you're presented with this puzzle. So what happens in the game, you roll dice and you roll and move. So you can move the characters that many spaces, and you try to work out, okay, I've got these 3 numbers. If I move this guy here, I can do that, and then I can move this guy here. And it's, as I said, it's very tactical in that you stuck with the die because it's not a mitigation as well. You can mitigate it, but there's just all these little areas that you're trying to control and to do actions on. But a goal comes down to making those 3 dice work for you, and to work out. Okay, I want to do this, and you see what that guy does, your opponent does, Exactly. Now that he's changed so basically the board state changes every time, every round, every turn with every action. So then you can rearrange and change your decisions. But again, you're still limited with 3 dice. And then the expansion is really cool because the expansion creates a second rondel with Merlin. Was it Merlin himself? I can't remember. No, Merlin was another character. King Arthur, who's in the center, and he works on a different rondel, so you have a different puzzle with a different dice. I just love it. I just love the constraints and yet the options that comes with that. I know it sounds like contradiction in terms, right? The less you're more constrained, the more options you have. But I like that. And Merlin does that. Again, not Stephen Paul's most popular game, but I really do like it. But it's technically just a roll and move rondel game.
Yeah, but it has always appealed to me, the mechanics, but also the looks and everything. And
yes,
it's just that I just was never able to play it. I never bought it. So, but yeah, it was always on my radar for sure. So
it's I got the big box version too, massive box, and has all the expansions. And it's a game I want to play. Yeah.
And of course, you've tried all the expansions already.
No, not yet. I want to try it. I haven't tried it.
Oh, we all want to. We all want to. That's it.
58.
I used to own its Big Brother, but then I got rid of it. I even had the special Kickstarter edition, the Heritage edition. I got rid of it. And then I just bought a 2-player game because I liked the mechanics a little bit more. And it's a wonderful kingdom. So basically, it has the same mechanics roughly as It's a Wonderful World. So you play cards, and of those cards, if you complete them, they will give you resources of different colors. We've got gray and black and blue and green and yellow. And they're in a certain order. I know gray is the lowest. But the cool part is, once you produce the cards that you've completed, they will give you those resources during those phases. But let's say you get gray, and thanks to those grays, you can complete a different card that will give you black. And then you produce black, that card you just completed immediately produces as well. So it's not like, okay, at the end of the round, you get everything back. No, like you can combo your way through the production actually as it goes. You have drafting. So when you draft, you can choose cards that you want to build or cards that you want to trash. And if you trash them, you can get some resources as well to put on the other ones. Even if you have resources you can't use, you just put them on the card and then you can change it into one. For every 5, you can choose it into one, like a wild one. I forgot the name for it. So that's basically It's a Wonderful World. But It's a Wonderful Kingdom is 2 players, and then you've got some modules in there, so you can have like some area control. You can also have a trap. So basically, you will always offer the person in front of you 2 stacks of cards, and one of the stacks might have a trap card in them. So they might take it, and one is a good one, and one is like some kind of monster or mythical creature or whatever, and that will block them in some way. It's a bit like Lords of Waterdeep when you have like a mandatory quest that you have to get rid of, something like that. It'll have an effect. And you can also play solo, so that's also really cool. I don't know, just the whole bluffing thing and the mind reading thing. I think that added a lot to the game, which I like a lot. I mean, I also played It's a Wonderful World on BGA, but It's a Wonderful Kingdom just adds that little extra spice, and then those different modules with different types of trap cards and everything. No, I really enjoy it. I want to play it more. But once again, I'm surprised how many 2-player games I have in my list because I don't play them very often, but I'm very motivated to do it though. It really makes me sad. I have no friends.
Is the solo any good?
The solo is good, yeah, it's enjoyable as well. But of course, you don't have those like I trapped you, whatever, I think, but the solo is good too. And I do have friends, but I tend to play other 2-player games. So okay, the fact that I said that I do have friends makes it sound like I really don't have friends. Anyway, let's continue. 58, yours. What is it?
So my next game is a kind of sequel to another game I'll be talking about later, and it's a game I really like. Obviously, so it's here, and that's Altiplano.
Ah, yes.
But I like the other one more.
Yes, I know which one.
It's, of course, yeah. But this game is just, in some ways, you could argue that it's actually a better game than the other one, which I'll talk about later. Because they made some refinements to this one. For example, okay, it's a bag building where you build it, you put your chits in a bag and you pull them out, and there's the actions you can do. You lay them in front of you to do it. And it has like a giant rondelle of locations where you move your work, your traveler, across the board to go to different locations to do the actions there using the chits that you just pulled out the bag. And what's the two things that they've done better than the other game is here in the other game. I just feel stupid. I'm not saying his name, but anyway, in the other game, you always put the chips back in the bag. But this one, you had to treat the bag like a deck. So once you use the chips, you put it in a discard tray, like a wheelbarrow, and you keep. So you always know you're going to pull out the chips. Whereas in the other game, you never know.
You might not.
You might not. And the other thing they've done in this game that the other one works. Another one is here at least there's a river of buildings to purchase, whereas in the other game you just go to the deck.
Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah, but then with the other one
It's
they
crazy.
house rule it. The other one they house rule
Yes.
the river, right? So you can do that.
Exactly, which I do anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, the other game's called Orleans for those.
Yes,
But
I was
we'll
about to
talk about
say. Let's
Orleans.
just say it.
There's Orleans. I'll talk about it later. But I think Ultron's a great game. I think it's so cool. And it's just the spatial game where you move your guy around, you're building up your little engine and building up the bag. It's just fun.
Well, I've never played it because it was always like if you have Orleans, you don't really need the other one. It's always got the vibe that I got. But then again, it does have the llama meeple, right? The llama standee or whatever, which is pretty cool. But yeah.
I think it's different enough to have. And I love both games. I'll play any of them.
I think that's part of the thing that I miss now, because as we're both getting more and more games, I only play my games while I used to join other meetups and play other people's games and so on. But now it's often like I just play my stuff, and then you're not exposed anymore to other things. But
and I know a lot of times, a lot of games that I've played showed you end up liking, and you never thought you would like them. Like there's quite a few games on your list that you played.
Newton. Anyway.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
I think so. I don't know if it's passed by already or not.
Yeah, but Ultron.
Okay.
Number 57
was one that was on your list but didn't make the top 100, and you said it was one of the shockers that it didn't make the top 100. And it almost gives you shivers. It's Endless Winter. It didn't make the top 100, right? It just fell out of something, just very nearly or whatever.
Are you sure? Let me double check.
I thought you said it didn't make it.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. So I made a bunch of videos for that when it came out, like the solo mode. I even beat it on hard, but then they put a BGG mode on there. Not because of me, but they put a BG mode to make it even more difficult because the solo was too easy. But I like the mechanics because you've got your tribe, you've got the cards that you play, you put your people out, and then when you put your people out, you can do the top action. You can do the actions basically as many times as you can afford them, which is really cool. And then if you're first, you can get an extra action at the bottom or like a bonus. You have different actions that are all very different. Like you get the animals, you can do the painting later on. You can do the area control, and it's all like basically the tribes back in the day, and then it's in the winter, and you have your chief that has special powers as well. And then I also like the fact that if you play more, you start to realize, okay, if I do this action where I can get more cards, I can actually just take the rubbish cards, because later on, further in the round, you have to discard a card to play another card. And then those cards that are actually not really good become very useful because you just use them to give you an extra turn. That's also very good. The one gripe I had with it is that it it lasted too long. And with that, I mean, when the final round came around, I was like, oh, I already have all the animals. I already have this. I'm already at the top of this track. What am I going to do? You know, I basically did everything that I was going to do. And basically, I love the fact it has all these different mini games, all in one, like putting like the stones and everything, getting the resources. And I like it. It's pretty. The modules add a lot too. Some of them are better than others, obviously, but you've got like the river mod that changes the whole area control system, so it should be nice as well. But yeah, it's. I think it's good. I think at that point I played a bit too much. That's why it went down or was lower, because it went up. It was 66, now it's 57, and that is more spread apart in time. I appreciate it more again. Because I think it's really good. It's really nice. I can play with new people. They quickly get it. They like it. It's a high level production. Yeah, 57. And this winter.
No, I'm just listening to it. I want to play it again, and that's even though it's not my top 100. I think it's the game that could easily be there. You know, but as I said, there's so many other games. No, it's a really good game.
And it has its flaws for sure.
Yeah. Okay, my next game is a game I really love, but it has flaws. It's not a perfect game, and the sequel, I think it also has its own little sequel, well, not little, its own big sequel. But it's a game I love very much. But I think it's because there's so many games in this genre that are probably more streamlined and more elegant. But I still really enjoy this game, and maybe it's Lord of Hellas.
Which one is this?
I thought Lord of Hellas would be much higher, but I think the reason why Lord of Hellas falls here is that it is clunky. It's clunky. There's so much going on. The table space is insane. You got 100 cards, and there's so many and part of me still feels the killing the monsters is too easy as a victory condition. That does bug me. But everything else about the game I love. I love the fact that you can do multiple things. You can do this area control, do to the map thing, but at the same time go on adventures with your hero. I love the action selection, which is like a little Euro thing going. I love the cards and the weapons and the monsters, and I love all that. But it's the temple. I forgot him thinking of the temples, building the temples. I know you hate the fact that you have to build them up. But it's I like every single part, but I think at times I do think it's not smooth, you know. And I think that's why it should be around where it is now. But it's still a game I really have a soft spot for. I really do love it, and I'd love to play it often if I could.
Well, it's one of those games that I really wanna love a lot more. Like I think this is really cool, but like you said, the monsters thing, and also like I don't feel like the powers of the different heroes are that balanced. Some of them are like, not that fun. So, but I really like it. That's also why the sequel. I also was really hyped about it until I saw some playthrough videos, and I thought it's not really what I wanted either. So in the end, I don't own any of them because of those reasons. Like, I think if I would buy Lords of Hellas, it's just because I want to have it. But then I feel every time I played it, I was like, oh, I wish this was more like that, or I wish this was more like that. But it's so cool.
I remember we played it. We played a few times when we played together.
Yeah.
We were all excited to get the new content to play the game. It was still a game we really enjoyed playing.
Yes, for sure.
It's just not a perfect game.
It's
a flawed game, but it's a really good game.
Yeah,
so yeah, sure. And it's such a cool looking game. You know, this robotic sci-fi mythology universe. It's original in that way. It's interesting. It's cool.
And just to make it clear to the people at home, my temple thing that I have is in the game. When you use a temple action, you build up the temple, and when one of them is finished, the game ends, or one, right? But there's like 4 or 5 in total. But if one is finished, then the game ends. And I always think it's such a shame. It's much prettier if you start the game with all the temples built, and then when you do the temple action, you just because it's like you're sapping the power of the gods, and it slowly crumbles down. Theme, right there. Anyway, yeah. So that's my thing.
56.
I think is it my first? I'm not sure. My first small box game even has an expansion. It was pretty hype, I think, last year or a year and a half ago. Played it a lot on BGA, played a lot in person, and it's Sea Salt and Paper. So I don't know if you've played it before, but it's not soloable, as far as I know. But it's fun because the way the game starts is you draw 2 cards, you have to keep one, and then one is placed next to the deck, and there will basically be 2 face-up decks. So if the next person draws 2, takes one, puts one in the other deck, of course, because there's 2 available ones. There's the top-down one and the 2. So when it comes back to my turn, I already have 1 card in my hand, and then I either have to top deck 2 cards and choose one again, or I choose the top card of one of the 2 visible cards that were discarded before. So after a while, of course, those visible cards, those 2 decks are going to increase. It's going to be like 6 cards or 7 cards. And the way the game plays is if you have 2 of the same cards, then you can play them and do the special power. So if like 2 fish, then maybe I can top deck a card. Or if I have like 2 sharks, maybe I can steal a card from someone else. Or maybe this will give me another turn. Or if you have if you manage to get 4 mermaids, you instantly win. Stuff like that. So there's a lot of different cards and different combos for each other. If you because these cards also give you points. If you reach 6 points, you can choose whether you say, okay, I got 6, I stop, everybody scores their points. Or you can say last chance, and then you're hoping that nobody else, to do one more round, and you're hoping that nobody else gets higher than your score. Because if you do, you only score your color points, which is not a lot. But if you have the highest score, the other people, I think, don't score, or they only score their color points, but you score your normal score plus your color bonus, which can be like a huge jump. And basically, the first person to 30 wins. So you're going to do a couple of rounds. You can play with many different people. The expansion adds even more cards to it. I just like the fact that you always have the choice. Okay, I'm going to top deck, or I'm going to go, because some of the actions that you go through that discard pile and find a certain card, there's your typical cards like, okay, if you have shells, 1 shell is 0 points, but 2 shells is like 2 points, 3 shells is 5 points, stuff like that. Or for every fish, for every boat, you get that. The art is all like origami stuff. So yeah, it's just a cool game. You can play it on BGA. It's fun. Of course, on BGA it can take a while, but in the flesh, in person, it goes pretty fast. And it's a game that I can play with anyone, and I enjoy it. So that's why it's so high. And it's Sea Salt and Paper, 56.
Okay, my 56 is crossover.
Ah.
And it's a game it's another one of those games I introduced to you.
Okay.
And that's Champions of Midgard.
Aha. So number 3, the third.
Three.
Crossover. Yeah.
And like everything we said before, it combines a couple of things, right? That's really fun. Okay, the first thing, the theme is really cool as the Vikings going on raids, but it's also got this mythical element, so there's monsters. But it's a typical worker placement. You go so the first phase of the game is not only send your workers out to collect resources and collect dice, but the dice are your actual fighters, and then you go off to fight monsters, and then you got to go through the journey in which you need your resources. So we spoke about it all before. It's all those cool things that push your luck. It's a bit of the fun of dice rolling, but there's also ways to mitigate the dice, so it's not such a luck fest in the Euro. It's at pure midweight Euro.
Yeah.
That it's one of those Euros that's not too easy, not too thin, but at the same time it's enough that you can introduce to new people, and then they can still have a challenge. Everyone can have fun. And as you said, the expansion made the game so much better, because if you do have a bad die roll, you get resources from that get
Yeah.
the gods. It's you can play with powers, and no, it's everything. It's just as we said, it's just the perfect weight, mid-weight Euro. A lot of fun, worker placement, dice rolling, everything you need.
Okay, I'm gonna go play.
I really like playing this game again. You're right.
It's
I
been
wish.
so long. It's been so long since I played
Yeah.
it. It's a shame. It's a disgrace. That's what it is.
Does it even have a solo mode? I don't think it has a solo.
Back then, solo was nothing. It was not a thing. So
Yeah.
I doubt, unless it's like maybe fan made on BGG, but otherwise, no, definitely not.
Yeah, but as I said, it's just that perfect weight. It's that perfect weight that you can play. Anyone can play with it. Everyone can, and it's will be a challenge, and it's just fun. The worker placement spots are tight, and then
Yes,
you
yes,
get
very
that tension, and then you build up resource control on your dice, making sure you have mitigation of the dice, and then you go fight your monsters. There's the tension, and they want to fight their monsters.
Mhm.
It's just a cool game.
And just going on those trips, on those raids, is not a trip. It's not a trip, guys. When you go on those
But
raids,
the journey, the traveling is
yeah.
stressful just
So
that you're not going to hit the storm.
because at one point it's like, should I really try it? Because if anything happens, I lose any of these dice, I'm screwed. And then you try it anyway, and it's like nothing happens. Oh, thank God. Or the opposite,
And
are
then
like,
you roll
oh,
badly
okay,
anyway.
yeah.
And then you roll badly anyway against the monsters.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, so it's yeah, those are the moments that they go that high for sure.
And there's also that cool shame mechanic where no one goes to fight I can't remember what they're called. You give shame to someone, right?
Yeah, true. The whole shame thing. I forgot about that. I really forgot about that. Yeah.
And we always give it to Miguel, who's the
Oh,
strongest player, even
shame.
though he's not winning. We still give him all the shame.
Yeah, it's because of his bill. He's got his account is full. He needs to pay his debts. So that's from all the other games that's piled on there.
He's fallen.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's handicapped. But yeah, Capital God, great game.
Hey guys, while we're busy setting up International Games Day in our local library, I want to present to you number 55.
Is behind me, and it takes up a whole calyx, and there is no space for anything else. And I'm using the right finger. It's here. Here. And it's too many bones because that's a trove chest. And even the stuff underneath is also too many bones, all of this. Apparently, not all of this, but most of it. Even the one here, the black box, that is actually a book that is pop-up. It has like a pop-up book. It's really, really nice. Yeah. They did so many things. They have like books, like leather bound and everything. There's so much lore. But to quickly explain what Too Many Bones is, basically, you choose a couple of gear locks. If you play solo, you can do it with one, but I'd like to play with more. And then you go on an adventure with just with cards, right? So the first card will say, okay, this happens, make a choice, blah blah blah, and you can upgrade your character a little bit because you have like this mat. Everything is neoprene, which is also really nice. Neoprene mats with like a lot of die spaces carved out. So you can upgrade your basic stats. We have also all these other skills that you can do. And at one point, you're going to have to fight. And then you have this battle mat, and you have all the chips, the really nice high level chips. I mean, if you splurge for them, otherwise it's just more like plastic chips. And that's your life. So, for example, if you have a health of 8, you have 8 chips, and then your character on top of it. You put it on the battle map. Across from you are the baddies. Now, for the younger viewers, it's not that kind of baddie, okay? It's a bad person, not a whatever. So anyway, so you find the baddies, and then if you win, you get experience, and then once again you upgrade your characters, either your base or all these special abilities that combo off each other, and you get extra dice to roll. And it's just a lot of fun. There's so many expansions. There's so many different gear locks that you can have that all play differently. It also tells you how to play with them or gives you hints. Okay, a lot of people complain you can win the game by just dumping everything in your basic stats, but where's the fun in that? You want to try and use all those bombs and potions and all those other combinations. And like I said, many expansions that add so much content, bosses, different kind of baddies. I just like like I said before, I like the puzzles, right? So the moment they're on the battle map, it's like, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to survive? And so I think it's really, really cool. And of course, the trove chest makes it all look like every time I show it to people, they're like, "Whoa, this is a game." So yeah, and then if they want to play, I'm like, "Nah, we were too many people. We can't do it now." But I would play with 2 people max, maybe 3, but 4 is way too long. But yeah, that's in the end, of course, you do your journey, and in the end, you fight a big boss, and then hopefully you win.
So my next one is
55.
I don't know, 55. I don't know if you remember to do it or not, and that's Godfather, Korean's Empire.
Godfather. Why would I forget that? I didn't forget it last year.
Godfather. I think okay. First thing, it's a worker placement game, but it's a highly interactive worker placement game, in which it's a nice combination of worker placement, but also area control. What happens is you have 2 types of workers. You have the ones that are your thugs, and you have your bosses. I don't know what they call them, bosses. The thugs go to spots
Lieutenants?
which are
No,
the
not
front of the
lieutenants.
store. Lieutenant, no, it'll be like captains or whatever,
Yeah.
like the bosses. So you put your thugs in the front of the store, and that you can just get a certain. So every worker spot has 2 halves. One half of which will be the front of the store, which the thugs will go and get stuff from. But at the same time, there are these spots. You see, the map's divided into different locations, different areas, and every area has these interlocking, like intersecting worker spots. So if you put your boss on that spot, they can control the entire area from both sides, and plus they get everything inside that location, right? The back of the store. So certain spots for the bosses are more juicy than others.
Yeah,
They're not
for
all
sure.
equal.
No.
So you get your resources that way, and at the same time you're getting resources, which is like guns, alcohol, and I can't remember what the third one is. And then later on you get narcotics, which is the wild liquor. The other one is liquor, and you're trying to you get the resources to pay contracts, to get money, and money is your victory points, but you've got to bank it first, so you put it in a little tin. And all these things are really cool. And then in the round, you have like area control, which you count who has the most guys in each location, in each zone. And then it becomes like you get points for the area. And then there's also set collecting. The person with the most red cards gets points. So it's all that kind of thing. And it's a lot of interaction because your guy might be there, but then someone will play a assassination card or a car bomb, and everything gets destroyed. So there's a lot of take that, which is part of the game. It's part of the theme. I know you have a story to tell for that one. Oh, no, it wasn't you. It was with Alexis. Okay. It's a lot of fun. There are probably 2 problems I have with the game. The one I've kind of fixed. The first one is the art on the cards. There's no art.
Yeah, okay. It's a bit boring.
But I was able to get on BGG fan-made art for it cards, and I just instead I haven't slipped into the sleeves. So I fixed that. The other problem is that sometimes the jobs do get same after a while. There's not that much variety. I think the game would have benefited from an expansion, like more cards, maybe some like player powers for each family. Oh, I also got that. Also, you can bid at every 100 bid.
I was about to say,
characters. That's a really cool thing. But I think the game, it's the kind of game that was set up for expansions, which never came.
Yeah. But then they're never going to come,
but it's
right?
Great.
He left the company.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think the game didn't sell as well as I hoped. But
absolutely.
It's a game I really enjoy, and it's one of those Euros that is interactive, but it works. I'm pretty sure you like it, so
yeah. Might be talked about it later. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 54.
I think you will talk about that later too. Maybe not, but it's Coimbra. So the Portuguese city, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Is it Portugal or is it Spain?
Yes, Portugal.
Portugal, yeah. So basically, typical dice drafting, dice placing game But here, the thing is, all the dice have different colors. So if you take the die, you don't only take it for the value, but you also take it for the color. And at the same time,
Yes.
it also gives you the opportunity to hire a person of that color in that row. So it's, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So there's so much going around. When you place the dice, you can go travel, which is pretty cliche. You have these different tracks you want to go up and down on. Well, not down, only up. Uh, you can also place your dice on different areas, like trying to be first player. And the cool part is, when you place your dice, you're also going to place them to hire new people, cards that can give you a bunch of benefits, like go up the tracks and then travel, that kind of stuff. That's on the cards. But then when you place your die, somebody else can put a lower or a higher value depending on what they want down, and that can really mess with you. Like even if you play with with two people, then there'll be like dummy dice that will also cause those problems. And being first can be hugely important because you even have like a spot where you don't hire anyone, but that gives you a bunch of bonuses. So extra crowns, because whoever has the most crowns will be first player, if I'm not mistaken, stuff like that.
Yes, or lions or
And you have
something.
you have like two tracks. One is military and one is money. So some of the people that you hire or want to recruit require military. Some require money. So you always want to keep an eye on what other people have, what they might go for, and so on. And I remember also on the player board it has like A, B, C, D, E, F. I think all these different steps you have to do. So it's all nicely on the player board. So you remember, okay, this is happens now. And yeah, it's very colorful. It's pretty. You have the end game scoring cards that goals that you have. You have to try to make sure you do it every round, because otherwise it can really mess you up in the game. But yeah, it's I just really like anything dice drafting and dice placing. I really love those in general, and these mechanics here, I really enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, might talk about it later.
Okie dokie. Okay. All right, that was 54.
Okay, my 54 is another game, like Lords of Hellas. It's a very flawed game, I think. But yet I love it. I enjoy playing it. I can play it anytime. I want to play it all the time. And that's Tapestry. Okay, and it's the civilization themed game. It's not a civilization game. It's basically just tracks, different tracks. And it's got the map in the middle, but that map is not so important to the entire game. And the game is not balanced at all. But he did bring out the last expansion, the very last expansion he'll bring out, in which he redesigned, he retweaked all the civilizations. Now I don't even know the game, but basically what makes the game so cool is everyone gets this game-breaking civilization.
Yeah.
Have you played the game?
No, but it's on BGA, and I was thinking of trying it. Yeah.
So everyone gets a game-breaking civilization, but then every round you also get these tapestry cards. So the idea is that your civilization will go in a certain direction. So the tapestry card gives you another game-breaking power. So the whole idea is that you got your civilization with your power, and these tapestry cards that give you a power for that round only.
Yeah.
And sometimes the combos can be pretty cool.
Oh.
Understand? And so you're doing that. And at the same time, you're working on having resources, you're paying resources to make tracks. And when you get tracks, you can do this and you can do that. Again, very tactical and very situational. And you also got your own grid in front of you, which is your land, and you're putting buildings on it. And the more buildings you put on there, your income increases. So you get all the income. So the next round, you have more options, more actions. But it's all those things, the trappings of a civilization game. But what makes the game fun is those combos. Your power plus your tapestry card that gives you this great. Every round is different because you've got these two the combination that goes together. This combo of the civilization and tapestry card, and that's just fun. It's a really fun game. It is broken. It's unfair at times, but you don't care.
That's also
It's
pretty,
strange
right?
to say that. It's beautifully art. And Bosley, the artist is Bosley, which is one of my favorite artists. He's a guy who does he does art for Everdell.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Uh, so the art is really pretty, but it's just a really fun game. It's not perfect. It's flawed, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, because in the beginning I didn't want to play because everybody was talking about how unbalanced it is, but then it still has a pretty good score on BGG, and then it's available on PGA as well, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I definitely want to try.
But you see, that's the thing. It balance, like, I was talking with a girl who's trying to design his own game, and he spends so much time balancing. He always talks about like Tapestry, which is not balanced, but it's fun.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. The game is so balanced. Like when he tried to rebalance the game, he simply said to one power, "Oh, you start with 90 points or something, 100 points."
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
That's how far. That's how weak the power was. That you had to just give a ton of points to them. Try to make the powers.
Yeah.
Okay, now what happens is the final expansion came with a pack of redesigned powers.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the game can never be balanced because you could maybe balance the civilizations, but you can never balance the tapestries that go with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the card draw.
So whatever tapestry comes at that moment can totally break the game. They've got thousands of tapestries, like hundreds of them. There's a lot of tapestry cards, right? They're all unique.
Yeah.
So it'd be very difficult to balance every single tapestry card against every single civilization. Yeah. So it gets broken when you put the two together, when you get a really cool combo that suits your game state at that moment.
But that's what they say with any card that has any game that has a deck of cards, right? When you draw from, it's almost impossible to balance because you cannot predict what's going to come out and so on, or you have to make it really weak, which is boring. So.
Which is boring, right? But say it's fun. That's fun. And then if a guy whips you because he's got a really cool power, and you think, you got it right. Yeah, but it's a fun game. That's all that really counts.
Number 53.
Another Louis Brouet game, and it's Keep the Heroes Out. Now, recently, I think the expansion is still in the way. So it has an expansion with big boss battles and everything. I think that's coming. I believe so. Because it's two games or two expansions, so sometimes I mix them up. It's not a Cursed Throne, it's the other one. But anyway, so basically Keep the Heroes Out is Dungeon Keeper, but you're not actually building your dungeon because in the book you have almost 20 or 30 scenarios. You just set up a scenario. You choose your monsters. Of course, the monsters are all like very cute meeples, and it can be like skeletons or zombies or slimes, or if you're a dragon, it's just you. There's no extra monsters because the dragon's already so powerful. And you just choose your team of monsters, and then you have a deck. You shuffle it, you draw the cards, and then you play the cards and you do whatever it says. So okay, I'm going to summon some monsters here. I'm going to move them here, protect these rooms because the heroes are coming, and you want to stop them because they cannot go to your hoard. You cannot get your gold, right? So you can get potions to make yourself stronger. You can get equipment to make yourself stronger. But there's two waves. So the first wave is maybe just draw one card of heroes every turn. But the second wave will be draw two cards. And of course, when the hero arrives, they start running through your dungeon until they either loot a room or they bump into one of your monsters and they kill them and then they lie flat. But let's say that happens, and this person was in the alchemy room or whatever, the hero lies flat, but then the next hero card, this one also goes to the alchemy room, then he gets there and he wakes the other one up, and then suddenly two heroes are running down the hall. So if you're not careful, then it can create this stampede, like and then I think there's one playthrough on the channel where I got one stampede at one point because it was like wake up, and then crap, yeah, it's just too late. So the problem I had with the game, because it didn't crack the top 50, obviously. The problem I had with the game is if you go up one difficulty level and you start off with two hero cards every round, I think it's too difficult. Because you're just constantly doing damage control, which means you don't have time to get potions. You don't have time to get equipment. You're just trying to survive, and it's very difficult for all. And I think that takes away from the fun because you want to try to get the potions, you want to get the equipment, you want to play to the strength of your monsters because they all play different. If you have the ghosts, they can obviously walk through walls, so it's easier to move them around. Some of them are slow but powerful. You've got like hyenas, goblins, stuff like that. And yeah, each scenario is also funny, so there's a lot of humor components in there. And there's also a mode where one person plays the heroes and the other player plays the dungeon master. But when you play the heroes, it is way too easy because you can just constantly play, heroes where the weak points are because you see them, right? So when I played that with Anna, there's videos there. She was after the first game, no, let's do it again. I can win. And after like 4 turns, you're dead again. So that it's not 100% balanced there, but it's just a very cute game. It's fun, and as long as you kind of house rule a little bit the difficulty, then I think it's very suitable and a fun game. So yeah, let's keep the heroes out.
953 is another crossover, and that's Gugong.
Aha, number 4.
Number 4. And everything you said, first thing, it's a beautiful, beautiful production. Game Brewers, a company that I was depressed to hear that they're closing down because I did like their games and their productions of those games.
That's a shame.
And it comes down to that clever, and in some ways thematic. It's mechanical, but clever mechanic of your action selection. You have a hand of cards with different numbers on them, and you can take any action you want. You take your card and replace it with the other card, and take the card into your hand. The card is already there in your hand. So every action spot has a card on it. If you have a hand of cards, then you can just put a card down and take the other card. But if you put a card that's lower than the current number, you get to do the power underneath it, so you get double your actions. So you get that whole greed thing. You want to, you get greedy. You have to make it be efficient to do both. But then by trying so hard to be efficient, you become inefficient because you do things you don't want. You end up doing actions that you don't really need, but you want to get the extra bonus. And it's all these like mini games. There's the journey track. There's actually 2 tracks. There's a journey track at the top, and there's the boat track at the bottom. Yeah. There's the Jade you spoke about. There's the building the Great Wall. There's the Honor track. What is the other one? There's all different. Oh yeah, and you said the center one where you have to move up the Emperor track. A lot of tracks actually. Then there's the one where you have to get powers and again scoring. But it's all those things. Just again, typical Euro puzzle mini games that you're trying to balance. But the main thing that makes the game amazing, besides the double meeple, is those cards. The fact that they puzzle the card. There's a 12 there, and I put my low number down there, but I know that if I put a low number, someone else is going to take the low number, and then he's going to be able to use it next time. And plus, the dice, throwing the dice, you're trying to get that combination of numbers. Yeah. It's all those things that just makes the game so cool. And the expansion makes the game even better. Yeah. Expansion is really, really good.
And I think you also have a really sense of progression because I think I said the same thing when we talked about it the first time. The first time I played was horrible. We immediately played the second time and my score went up by 30 points or something. Because when it clicks, it's really clear and then
it's not a difficult game. It's not. There's nothing in the game that's complicated. It's a very straightforward game.
Yeah.
At least for people who play a lot of games. But it's just that puzzle of the cards in your hand,
Yeah.
And it makes the game more fun. So yeah. Go on. Great game.
Number 52.
Used to be 28, 35, now it's down to 52. And that is Street Masters. So
I have Brook City.
Yeah, true.
So
Street Masters. Street Masters is basically Street Fighter, but then you're on the streets, And they even did the Street Fighter game, but I didn't back it because it's basically Street Masters, but then with the actual Street Fighters. So basically, you have a bad guy. He has the henchman. You choose your heroes, and then you're on a map, and you're trying to get the objectives done. But then you have the cards from a deck that you play. Some of them will have you do actions. Some of them are more build-up cards that you place in front of you, and they have effects that you can do. But whatever you do, you're going to be collecting energy. And at one point, you can use your energy to go into overdrive, and you flip your card, and then you can do these special abilities with way more damage. And also, you collect these tokens to protect from kicks and punches and grabs, I think. And you have those dice that you roll when you actually fight. And you have those items that you can find, like, basketball shoes or a baseball bat or whatever, that will help you fight these enemies. And every map doesn't just have the bad guy and the henchman, but also has a location, and then also the mission cards that come out that will, well, they're not called mission cards, but other cards that will affect and influence the way the mission goes. And there's so many different characters. There's even an expansion that lets you turn the bosses into playable characters to like all kind of different decks, because there's so many expansions. The problem was the game was produced by Blacklist Games that are hugely blacklisted by so many people because they went out of business, and then sold it basically a lot of their stock. Like the Street Master latest expansion, they sold it to the Steamforge, I think. And now Steamforge is sending all the stock, all the pledges that people did through Indiegogo to everybody. As long as you back the new game, you don't have to pay shipping. If you don't back the new game, you have to pay shipping again. So I did back the new expansion because they created a new expansion. But all that stuff is going to arrive at one point, and then I'm going to have almost everything for the game. And so much, but it's just so much fun to do. And once again, it's a puzzle, It's like you're trying to get this, and during those missions, the bad guys have their own objectives, and also trying to get things done.
Just for the ones with the deck system, the different deck system, right? They pull two decks together. The minions decks. Is it also come with the decks?
They'll have separate. Yeah. They have decks.
Yeah. It's the same system as Brook City. Actually, I have Brook City and I have Alter Quest. Are those two?
Yeah. Are either of them in your top 100?
No, but I haven't played enough because I don't play enough.
Okay.
But I would like to play more. But Brook City's cool.
Yeah. I think I just love games where I love the mechanics and then have like so many different combinations that I can do. You have so many gangs, so many locations, so many heroes, so many bosses. It's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. Too bad it was so badly handled by the company. But it is what it is. That's my 52 Street Masters.
My 52 is a game I did introduce to you. I don't know if it's in your top 100 yet. And that's Bonfire.
It did not make the top 100.
Okay. Is that because there's too many games or you didn't like it?
Well, I only played with you. It's 124. I only played with you, and then I got the expansion, and then I couldn't find the base game, and I was like, "Where did I buy the base game or not?" It took me so long to find. Eventually, I found it, but then now I have them together, and I really want to play the solo mode because we played it. I liked it, but I was bad at it because it didn't click fast enough for me. So I need to play more than just once for it to get into my top 100. It definitely has potential. But yeah, please talk about it. What is Bonfire?
Yeah, that's what you can talk about it together. It's one of those typical default point salad games. But it's not that. It's that, okay, there's lots of things to do. The problem is so much things to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the economy of resources is so tight because your actions are determined by those little discs, little chits.
Yeah.
So you spend the chits to do an action.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can spend 2 chits to make a wild, or you have wild ones. So it's the economy of holding on to these actions, and you never know. And the order, the amount of what resources you get determines about taking a tile and putting on your board in a Tetris type thing. So you put them, if you get like a dominoes thing, if you get two do the same things, touching each other, you double the resources. So you get that little puzzle of working out what resources you get, and then you get the resources, and you go, okay, what do I do with these resources? But
Mhm.
sometimes you want to get a ton of, I can't remember what names are, the blue shit. But you don't want to do the blue action, right? You really need to do
Yeah, exactly.
the purple action. And so it's just trying to balance and say, okay, I've got this now, what do I do? As I said, that's the kind of games I really enjoy. Having this confinements and saying, okay, what do I do with this thing at this moment? And it's so amazing that you're trying to build. As I told, when I taught the game to you, I told you guys don't worry about the theme, because the theme is bonkers. It makes no sense.
It's weird.
These weird goblin things trying to find priestesses to whatever to make a bonfire to do.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But the thing is, like, you try to make your bonfires, which is your objectives. So you try to work on that. You try to make a path. You reckon you try to make two different paths. One that goes from left to right, and the one that goes from right to left, and you try to make them kind of meet in the middle. And it's just so much going on. You get the bonfire in the middle, which is another way to get resources and trying to do things. It's a really brain burny game, but it's so much fun. And I think, yeah, it's a game I really like. I played it a few times, and every time I played it, I liked it, and people who played with all seem to like it.
Do you think the expansion is a must?
I think the expansion just gives, well, expansion gives you player powers, which is really nice. We did play with the expansion, did we, or did we not?
Yeah, we play with the powers and also
the powers, the trees.
The trees, yeah.
The trees don't add too much, but they just give you another thing to think about, which is nice. It's I like having the expansion, and I think the expansion, yeah.
I think the game has, for me, it had highs and lows. Like when you're talking about the Tetris thing, when you're able to do like the action, and it's like you manage to line up 3 or 4 icons, it's like, whoa, I can go to town now because I have 4. But then at one point, like you said, there's gonna be a moment like, crap, I only have like this or this, and suddenly my resources are all gone. And like, oh, I'm so stuck now, because at one point I was stuck because I needed certain symbols, but then you guys kept moving the stuff around, so I couldn't get the symbols I needed. So okay, now I have to do this here, and then hopefully eventually, because this is also bad planning, but not entirely bad planning, because other people can mess up your plans. When you say, okay, I'm not gonna get it now, I'll do it next round. I'm just gonna gamble that nobody. Okay, they touched it. So so it's and that's good. That's good about the game. So it really has highs and lows, and you try to keep it on the high. And I think those player powers help a lot for that as well, because especially when you play for the first time, you can really focus on one thing. Like, okay, I'm good at this. Direction, because if you don't have that, it's like, whoa, so much. And then I think you just end up copying whoever played before. Like, I should probably do something like that. But then you're always on the back foot because they're doing it first. So I think it's a very good game, but I think I need to play it more, and I want to check out the solo for sure. It's because right now it's not. I haven't played enough to get it higher. So a missed opportunity for a crossover, but next time, maybe next year.
Perfect.
51.
And it's in Australia. 51. Yeah, it takes place in Australia. Yes, it's Waste Nights.
Oh, Waste Nights.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm still waiting for the new expansion. They already have it in Poland, I think, but apparently the English translation took longer. It hasn't shipped yet, blah, blah, blah. But I just like, first of all, I like the idea already that you start with not just a character, because there are many different characters, but also a vehicle. Because I want to be on a motorcycle. I know I'm going to take this armored van or whatever, and it affects what you can bring with you, affects how easy you can go off-road, things like that, exploration. And there's a storybook that goes along with it. So similar to like Destinies and other games, like you work your way towards the final chapter. And the final chapter is a bunch of stuff in a row. Like you're not doing anything on the map anymore. You're like in a facility or whatever. And it's like step, 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 step. And you're trying to make it to the end. And it's like a Australian Mad Max world, right? And you've got like multiple stories. And in those stories, you make different decisions that might point you in different directions. And it's also important whether or not you play with more people, because then if you play with more people, you can split up and say, okay, that person goes to that direction to find stuff or whatever. The combat is cool. It's dice rolling. It can also be quite challenging but then, it's dice rolling. Of course, if you roll badly, because you need things like ammo. So if you run out of ammo, suddenly your attack power is way lower than what it was before. The stories are pretty cool. There's one with a giant robot roaming the wastelands. That's always, epic in itself. But yeah, a bunch of stories. I think we managed to successfully complete one, but I think we lost on like 2 or 3 other occasions. So it's not necessarily an easy game, but I just like it. If you can go off road, but then it comes with penalties. There's radiation in certain areas that will also affect you, and yeah, I just like, because with those characters, you also start with weapons. You can find new weapons and things like that. And yeah, the stories, and then the new one will introduce basically Water World into the Wasteland world.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah. So you backed it as well, or you have it as well?
Yeah, I backed it. Yeah. I have the game. I painted it actually.
Oh wow. Okay, we'll just swap then. Yeah. I'll give you my unpainted version. And then
But yeah, it's a cool game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I really like it. And then you can play with an Australian accent, mate. So
the Mad Max soundtrack.
Yes.
Okay. My 51 is a game, again, I introduced to you, a game we spoke about early on, and that's Newton.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. And again, it's sorry?
Have I spoken about it already or not?
I'm not sure if it was 100 yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a crossover.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. Yes.
And it's just, okay, so it's just a typical Simone Luciani and the Italian designers, that weight, like mid-heavy weight Euros, which I really love. And there's so many of their games that will come later in the list that I enjoy. And yes, the game looks bland on the table, but when you play it, it's just again, it's the same thing. All these multiple different boards. You get the, I don't know, you get the tree of knowledge thing. You get a map of Europe as you're moving up. You go to library. You got all these different irons. You got your play board there, and the main thing is you got cards, and you play the cards for the actions. And at the end of every action, you got to basically get rid of a card by tucking it under your board, and then when you tuck it under your board, it becomes a permanent symbol. So that's why you got to keep updating your deck, right? Because you got to, at the end of the round, you got to kill one of your cards.
Yeah, and because if you don't,
puzzle,
because you put it under your player board, but
desk.
then the next round, under your desk. But if you don't have that icon anymore in your hand, you can't do the action.
You missed. Exactly.
Yeah. So
it's very similar. It's a kind of what I spoke about another game, like Rimosa had a same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you basically, but this one you lose a card permanently, right? So you've got to be able to get that balance right. But yeah, it's just a crunchy Euro. It's just the theme is there, and I like that. I don't, because when you're crunching numbers, you don't really care about themes sometimes. And
I mean, the theme is there. Is like you're sending out students, and they're good at different areas, or have to collect different things all across the land.
Yes, so, and you try to do your bookshelf that makes sure it's complete a row and a column at the same time, and
as you do, that's what I do with my Calyx every day.
And sending your students up a tree, you send this up the tree of knowledge.
I try to get money.
And it's also the top track where he's like the money track where he's sleeping. That's a weird one. Top track.
And then of course you try to get your mastery cards to activate and then combo a little bit.
Mastery cards and their powers, and I don't care. I love this game. Yeah.
What I like about the game as well is that it had also a Chinese release, and there some of the cards have different people. Like the actions are the same, but they changed it to like Chinese people.
Okay.
Not all of them, like a couple of them, because my friend bought accidentally a Chinese copy. I mean, not accidentally, since he didn't realize it was going to be different people as well. It was pretty cool that they did that. But yeah,
That'd be cool, like promo.
we'll talk about
cool
it
promo
later.
as well.
We'll talk about it later for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a good game. Definitely a good game. Yeah. Okay, that is the end basically of this one, 60 to 51, and then next time we'll finally start the top 50. You know, it's,
The good
honor.
games, the really the
Yeah.
better,
yes,
get the real games out
and
of the way.
a huge honor for all those games to be in that in our one top 50. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. At the moment, the crossovers are at 4, so we're gonna need 14 more, I guess, for to reach 18 anyway.
I think.
So
I
it'll
think.
be very interesting.
I don't think. Yeah,
I think it's
I don't think
doable.
it's gonna happen. Okay.
It's doable. We'll see. We'll see. There's a bunch of new games as well, of course. So I don't know how that's gonna work out. All right, cool.
Okay, cool.
And see you next time. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching and listening. And like I just said, see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.